Let's open up.
Let's go.
Go to questions. Questions here.
Keith Hammer,
Keith, what's happening?
Good to see you. Can you talk just a little, I know we're going to telecom should talk to you, but just a little bit about the origins and influences of your 3-4 defense historically, how it came to be.
The origins of how I call and play my 3-4 defense. Originally, there's three versions of the 3-4 defense. One would be the Belichick way, which is Belichick, Al Groh, and those guys. The next would be the Dick LeBeau, Don Capers, which that is they play left and right. The Al Groh, Belichick one is the two-gap, and then there's the Bum and Wade Phillips, and then they play traditional fronts with 3-4 personnel. I started 3-4 in Don Capers' system with the Houston Texans. So that was a left and right system. Everybody played left, everybody played right. So there was a left outside backer, left end, right outside backer, right end.